Hey y'all, Queen of Carni here. Are you guys ready for part 2 of my beef trimmings tallow video? I hope you're excited. So this part of the video is the 2 purification processes. So I go into detail on how to do that. I show you what every step looks like. And by the time you are done watching this video and you have done your own tallow, you are going to have the most creamy white, beautifully rendered and purified beef trimmings tallow. I'm so excited for you guys. So thank you for sticking with me, and here we go. Good morning, everybody. So it is the next morning. I had my tallow in the fridge overnight, and I wanted to open it with you guys so you can see what it looks like after that first rendering. So let's open it up and see what we got. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? I'm actually quite impressed with how clean it is. Usually there's a little bit of yellowing on the top when I do this, so I'm actually kind of impressed. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this out of the bowl, all right? And then we're gonna weigh it because we need to know how much baking soda to add. And so it's 8 ounces of tallow is 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda. So let's go ahead and get this out of the bowl and we'll weigh this. Now, if you have a bowl that is bendable, you know, that will definitely make it easier to pop it out. But just using a knife around the edges made it pretty easy. Now you can see there's some of that impurities at the bottom there. That's a nice good sized puck. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and tare the weight with the bowl on my scale. And now we're at 0 ounces, so we'll go ahead and pop that back in there. Wonderful. So we have 35 ounces of tallow. That's fantastic. That's just over 2 pounds of tallow. And that those beef trimmings cost me $12. So 2 pounds of tallow for 12 bucks. Not too shabby, guys. Okay, I'm gonna do the calculations real quick and I'll be right back. Alrighty guys, so I'm gonna go ahead and use 1 1/4 teaspoons for my tallow. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this, and first of all, if you see any of these impurities on the bottom, just go ahead and scrape that layer off because we don't want that going into our tallow. So that is a good first step to purification. All right, here we go. Let's get all that yuck off of there. Perfect. All right, and now we're just gonna break it up and put it into our Instant Pot or our crock pot, whichever you're using. And you just want to break it into a few chunks like that. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? All right. And then we are going to just cover it with water. So you want to use about the same amount of either purified water or spring water. You want to use about the same amount. So I'm going to use about 35 ounces of water. All right, so this is the water I'm using. It is spring water, so it's natural. It doesn't have any of the chemicals and everything from the tap. You just don't want to use tap water unless you have filtered water in your home. And we're going to put just enough to cover the top there. And I will show you guys what that looks like. If you can see here, let me go ahead and bring the phone over top so you can see that. So see how it is going to level out once that tallow starts to melt. All right, and then we're gonna go ahead and add our baking soda, and then we are going to take this outside and I will meet you guys there. All right, y'all, we are back outside with our Instant Pot, as you can see. And I want to show you guys what I use, because this process, this step of the process, you want to keep it uncovered. But because I have it outside, I start it with this mesh screen cover on it, this splash guard, so that I don't get any bugs or anything in there. We don't want no bugs in our tallow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start this off on the soup setting. And I'm going to start it off on high. And the reason I'm doing this is because you want to bring it to a simmer. You don't want it to be a rolling boil. You just want to simmer. And so the soup setting I have found on my Instant Pot, sorry, the camera's kind of shaky, but the soup setting I have found gives us the quickest simmer. Then I turn it down to low once that starts. Now at this point, you guys are going to want to babysit this. You're not going to want to leave it alone. So I typically will sit with it while it does this and keep an eye on it. Make sure no bugs are getting in. Make sure it's not coming too much of a boil. Because we just want it to simmer and start having those baking soda bond with the impurities in the tallow. Okay? And you're going to start seeing that steam coming up. And I will show you guys what it looks like when we've got a good simmer going and how it should look for you. And this is what you'll aim for, okay? So no worries. I'm going through every step with this with you guys. I've done a lot of trial and error, so so okay, we're gonna go ahead and do the soup, and we're gonna start it on high to start. And we're only going to do this first purification process for about 30 minutes. So get yourself a cup of coffee, get a book, whatever you need, and get ready to hang out and babysit your tallow. I'll check back with you guys here shortly. All right, y'all, I just wanted to show you real quick the type of simmer that you're looking for. Sorry, it's so loud out here. But you just want it to be like a very gentle bubble. You don't want it rolling boil like a huge boil. See how it's just a slight boil here? And that will slow down. So I did turn it down to the low temperature on the soup setting. And we're gonna leave this here for about 20 to 30 minutes. 30 is about as much as you wanna do this. After 30 minutes, go ahead and take it off, let it cool for a minute, and then we're gonna pour it back into the bowl and let it harden up again. So we'll be back. All right, y'all, you see this beautiful, creamy looking, velvety tallow? That's exactly what you want. You see all these bubbles on top? That's all the impurities coming out. So I went ahead and turned it off. It's been 30 minutes. And I'm gonna go ahead and take this inside and pour it into the bowl. Okay, so we've got the first purification process done. I'm about to pour it back into the same bowl that I had it in this morning. I washed it, cleaned it out. I've got my cheesecloth all washed and cleaned and ready to go. So this is where I wanted to talk to you guys just for a second about how you wanted to proceed. So if you're just using this for cooking, or if you don't mind a little bit of that tallow smell, or if you just don't want to take that extra step, you can actually stop here. Pour it into the bowl through the cheesecloth, let it sit for about 10 to 15 minutes, and then go ahead and pour it into the vessel that you're going to store it in. For myself, I like to purify twice because I'm extra. So I'm going to go ahead and pour this through the cheesecloth, let it sit in the bowl in the fridge until this evening, and then I will take it out again this evening, and we will do this process one more time because I like it pure as the driven snow and as odor-free as possible. Because like I said, I do use it for skincare as well. So yeah, that's just how I like to do it. But if you like to, you can stop at this point. It is perfectly good. It is nice and purified, and it's ready to go. So I'm gonna go ahead and pour that in the bowl now. All right, y'all, so we're gonna go ahead and pour this through the cheesecloth like yesterday. And you can see all those impurities in there already. Those are gonna stay in the cheesecloth, and only that beautiful white tallow is going to remain. And I also want you to note how much whiter it is already. Last night when we did that first purification, it was golden, and now it has that white, beautiful color to it. So I will see you guys back here in a few hours after this cools in the refrigerator, and we will see what we've got. All right, I'll see you then. All right, so here we go. This is what it looks like in the bowl. And I did want to note to you guys that the reason you're seeing that separation is that's the water. So this is a water purification and a baking soda purification. And as the tallow hardens, that water is going to sink to the bottom with the impurities, and the fat is going to solidify at the top. So don't be distressed when you see this little separation right here. That is the water separating from the fat. That's a good thing. All right, y'all, here we go. Final step, if you're following me all the way to the end. So this sat overnight, and you'll have to excuse me, I just got back from a rut, so I'm a little sweaty, but I wanted to get this finished. So there we go. Look at how nice and clean and white that is. Isn't that pretty? So we're gonna go ahead and pop this out, and we're gonna do the same method that we did yesterday. And we're gonna put it in the Instant Pot with some water and baking soda, and we're gonna purify it one more time. So let's take a look at what we got. All right. So as you can see, there's a bunch of goo down in there with the water and gelatin and everything. Those are all the impurities. So this is our cake right here. And we're gonna go ahead and scrape off that bottom part because we want nice, clean tallow. So anything that's not solidified, we're gonna scrape that off. All right, so there we go. Don't let anybody tell you you can't get white tallow from beef trimmings. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and break that up, and I'm gonna use, I'm gonna weigh this one more time so that I can make sure, because you do lose a little in the process. So I'll weigh it again, and then we'll do 1/4 teaspoon for every 8 ounces of tallow. And I have to tell you, this barely has an odor. Like, you can barely smell it. It's amazing. So, all right, I'll see you in a second. All right, y'all, so I've got my water in here, my baking soda, and I'm gonna go ahead and take it back on outside, and we're gonna do this one last step, and we'll do the same thing as we did last time, 30 minutes, once you get it to that really soft simmer, and we'll let it go for 30 minutes, then we'll bring it back in, strain it one last time, and our tallow will be ready to put in our storage jars. Are we excited? I'm excited. Okay, I'll see you guys shortly. I do want to note really quick that it went from 35 ounces to 32.5 ounces. So you do lose a little bit in the process, but that is all those impurities and everything coming out. So we've got 2 pounds of tallow for 12 bucks. I love that. All right, I'm taking it outside now. Okay, y'all, here we go. Here is the final purification results. And let me just show you real quick. Now you can see all of those impurities are all at the top. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna skim all those off first before I pour it into my 2 mason jars. So I will be right back when I'm ready to pour. Now I want you guys to look at that. Look at that beautiful, clean, pure beef tallow. Absolutely gorgeous. No impurities. Pure golden tallow. Yes. All right, you guys, if you have made it this far to the end, you should be so incredibly proud of yourself. You just made your very own beef tallow. You should feel connected. I don't know about you, but it makes me feel kind of connected to my past or something. I absolutely love doing this. And I want you to look at that. Look at how white that is. I'm going to open one of these up. Look at that. Pure, creamy, beautiful white tallow. It is such a faint odor, you can barely smell it. So again, I don't want you to listen to anybody who says that you cannot have creamy white tallow from beef trimmings. Yes, kidney suet is ideal, but if you don't have access to that, you can still have nourishing, healthy, delicious, beautiful, fat beef tallow that you made with your own two hands. And I think that's amazing. So congratulations if you made your tallow along with me. And just a couple of quick tips real fast. It does stay better in the fridge. I recommend using separate vessels to store it. So you can keep one in the freezer and then one in the refrigerator. The more you open it, the more it does introduce, any kind of bacteria or anything in the air. So obviously, if you want to save half of it for later down the road, it does last for about 3 to 6 months in the fridge. And it can last up to a year in the freezer. So I don't think it'll last that long. It never lasts me that long. But also one other really quick tip I forgot to mention. If you want to go that extra step, you can wash your jars with hot soapy water, rinse them out really well, splash some vinegar in there, dump that out, and then set it upside down to dry. Do the same thing with the metal lids, and that will get that extra sanitation step in there if you're worried about any kind of bacteria being introduced. But let me tell you, mine lasts me, I use it in about a month, and it's beautiful, perfect. I've never had any issues with it. So again, congratulations for completing your first tallow. I'm so proud of you all, and I'm so happy that you went along and stayed with me during this whole long video. I know it was really long, but I wanted to be really, really thorough for everybody because I had so many questions when I was doing this. And so I just hope that this helps some of you. And if this video helped you, or if you have anybody that you know that wants to try this, go ahead and share that with them. And make sure you're subscribed to my channel for new things coming up. I've got a lot of fun recipes I'm going to be trying with some eggs, some different things. So you'll want to stay tuned for that. And make sure you like, subscribe, share, comment, all the good things. And you guys know that I love you, and you are so awesome to me, and I appreciate you guys so much. And have an awesome day. Mwah! Okay, bye.